Who is Venus in Gemini compatible with? Venus in Gemini is often thought of as fickle in love and not loyal. While it is true that people with Venus in Gemini are not as fixated on security at all costs as some are, their open approach to life is less scary than it may appear. Your Venus sign gives a clue to what you value, which can help you find a partner who agrees with you on the big things in life. People with Venus in Gemini value communication and a diversity of viewpoints in their relationships, though they want to keep even complicated things lighthearted. Let's talk about Gemini Basics. Remember that each zodiac sign is associated with a season, a mode, is it in the beginning, middle, or end of a season, and an element. Each zodiac sign is also ruled by at least one planet or luminary, and each zodiac sign has a symbol. Gemini have two seasons, and that is spring in northern hemisphere and fall in southern hemisphere. Gemini mode is mutable, which is end sign in its season. Gemini is an air element. The Gemini ruler is the planet Mercury, and has a symbol of the twins. Let's now talk about the Venus basics and which sun signs can have Venus in Gemini. Venus stays within two signs of the Sun in terms of relative position to Earth. That means people who have Venus in Gemini can have the Sun in only the following signs: Aries, Taurus, Gemini, Cancer, or Leo. People who have both the Sun and Venus in Gemini are chatty and upbeat. With the two-sidedness of Gemini, however, they might have another side that struggles to make sense of the more difficult parts of life. Partners might be surprised by the melancholy that pops out on occasion, but, as with everything else, Venus in Gemini just needs to talk it over. People who have Venus in Gemini and the Sun in one of the fire sign options, Aries or Leo, are more capable of taking action than Venus in Gemini might otherwise be, but they are more open to input from others than a fire sign Sun might ordinarily be. While this can go too far into crowdsourcing life decisions that really should be more personal, this combination has a gift for bringing others on board when there is a job to be done. Harder combinations are Venus in Gemini with the Sun in Taurus or Cancer. Earth sign Taurus focuses on physical security, and water sign Cancer focuses on emotional security. Your Sun sign tends to show the obvious qualities of your personality in the world, things on the level of what your coworkers or classmates would know about you. On that level, a Taurus Sun or a Cancer Sun is often someone who picks a stable job and lifestyle. If they have a freedom-valuing Venus in Gemini hiding underneath, however, they may at times be frustrated with their boring life, though they are probably the top networkers in whatever safe professional field they have chosen. Since we are done with the Venus basics, let's talk about Venus in Gemini personality. People with Venus in Gemini tend to seem young for their age. They are fun and carefree, and they are not in a big hurry to settle down. This can be maddening for partners who want a stable commitment. People with Venus in Gemini value the intellectual life, but their concern is more enjoying a pleasant conversation about it in the moment than whether it leads to concrete achievement in the physical world. They attract money and love quickly, though they do not hold on to these things tightly. Venus in Gemini also values seeing that there are two sides to most stories. This can make them seem indecisive, but their process of gathering information is generally helpful in some way for everyone involved. Though they are lighthearted and optimistic, they can be good listeners for sad stories too. Venus in Gemini just likes a good story, period, and their attention can easily wander to any random place it seems they might find one. Their impulsivity is similar to that of Venus in Aries, but it comes from a different place. Venus in Aries wants to follow their own spontaneous idea, while Venus in Gemini is more attracted to pursuing a new interpersonal connection. Though Venus in Gemini likes short weekend getaways better than long voyages, Venus in Gemini would excel at keeping up day-to-day communication no matter how far away their partner was. Can Venus in Gemini be loyal to just one partner? Some people with Venus in Gemini may be open to unconventional arrangements, but many could be happy with one partner who is able to keep up with their appetite for variety and stimulation. Before discussing Venus in Gemini more, please don't forget to hit the like button. Let's talk about Venus in Gemini man. The Venus in Gemini man is a smooth and charming talker. He is looking for a partner who can keep up with him in debate, though it may be hard for anyone to get a word in with him when he gets on a roll. The Venus in Gemini man likes to entertain his loved ones, and he will text them his favorite memes all the time. He may take a while to settle down, but if you are laughing and having fun with him, he will be attracted to you. If there is a Venus in Gemini man, there is also Venus in Gemini woman. The Venus in Gemini woman is fun and chatty. She may be perceived as flirtatious. Sometimes that's true, and sometimes she is just being friendly. The Venus in Gemini woman may not be too focused on the physical details of keeping up her home, because, to her, a place is less important than the people in it. She attunes herself to the details of her partner's routine and fills her partner's day with friendly chatter at every opportunity. Who is Venus in Gemini compatible with? Romantic compatibility in astrology is more complex than sun signs. If you've watched this far, you might suspect it is important to look for compatibility of Venus signs too, because Venus rules your values and your approach to love. If you have Venus in Gemini, your best matches have Venus in Aries or Venus in Leo. The fire element of Aries and Leo complements Gemini's air element and takes action to make Gemini's ideas happen. A partner of any Venus sign, however, can bring out yet another side of Venus in Gemini. Now, let's talk about the best matches, and the first is Venus in Gemini with partners Venus in Aries or Leo. Aries and Leo are the two fire signs on either side of Gemini. The fire element plays well with the air element because both are outwardly focused and willing to take risks. Many older astrology books refer to fire and air signs as masculine and earth and water signs as feminine. Today, hopefully there is more understanding that people of all genders can have a variety of personality traits and interests. There is a split between fire and air, and earth and water that needs to be acknowledged, though, even if masculine and feminine are awkward words for it. Perhaps a more expansive terminology would be closer to the idea of yin and yang in Chinese medicine. Yang is energy that is focused outward, while yin is energy that is focused inward. As the traditional Chinese Medicine World Foundation points out, we need both. The country needs farmers to reliably grow the food and bankers to reliably keep track of the money and healthcare workers to take care of the illnesses that reliably happen in the course of human life. These would be yin tasks, regardless of the gender of the person doing them. The country also needs inventors to make new products and explorers to find more resources. It needs commentators to brainstorm new solutions to the country's problems. These would be yang tasks, again regardless of the gender of the person doing them. A farmer and an explorer married to each other would be pretty miserable though. The farmer would never have help with the farm tasks, because the explorer would always be away, and the explorer would always be traveling alone because the farmer would have to take care of the farm. Putting two people on the yang end of the spectrum together, like a Venus in Gemini person with a Venus in Leo or Venus in Aries partner, is therefore not being out of balance. It's looking at a big enough picture to realize that, yes, the world needs all kinds, and the world has all kinds, but when you pick one partner to settle down with, you are going to be happier if you have some things in common with that partner. Fire signs and air signs are not quite identical though, so there is enough variety to keep the relationship exciting. The main difference is that air signs are dreamers and fire signs are doers. Venus in Gemini comes up with many ideas, but Venus in Aries or Leo gets bored with sitting around talking and wants to do something. Being pushed to act once in a while by a Venus in Aries or Leo partner would be good for Venus in Gemini. Finally, making an idea concrete could inspire more ideas, and then the cycle would begin again. Venus in Aries is impulsive and could get wild with Venus in Gemini quickly. Venus in Leo would work more slowly and inspire the Venus in Gemini person to refine their thoughts. As noted, Venus can be no more than 2 signs away from the Sun in either direction in an astrological chart. Both Venus in Aries and Venus in Leo could have the Sun in Gemini, and Venus in Gemini could have the Sun in Aries or Leo. A sun sign match of this sort could make the Venus sign compatibility even more exciting. Let's move on to the second best match, and that is Venus in Gemini with partners Venus in air signs. Venus in Gemini blends well with partners who have Venus in Gemini, as well as those with Venus in one of the other two air signs, Libra and Aquarius. All three tend to like the idea of things and prioritize intellectual connection in their romance. Two Venus in Gemini people together is chatty and entertaining. Their relationship may incorporate a large circle of mutual friends or family. They may have trouble addressing deeper conflicts, or they may be able to look at those conflicts in such a way that the conflicts don't seem like such a big deal. The other two air signs are heavier. Venus in Libra can be excessively idealistic, and Venus in Aquarius people can be downright dogmatic about their ideas of how a love relationship should run. A Venus in Gemini person may therefore help calm down someone with Venus in Libra or Aquarius. The Venus in Gemini person could validate that yes, ideas are important, and then be able to convince them that they are taking it way too far. Meanwhile, a partner with Venus in Libra or Aquarius could add some seriousness to the Venus in Gemini person. We have reached the third best match, and that is Venus in Gemini with partners Venus in mutable signs. The other mutable signs besides Gemini are Virgo, Sagittarius, and Pisces. All four mutable signs live on the transition from one season to another. Venus in Gemini is a tough match for Venus in Virgo, as the gulf between Venus in Gemini's mindset of generosity and Venus in Virgo's mindset of scarcity can cause a lot of trouble in the relationship. However, both Gemini and Virgo are ruled by Mercury, which facilitates communication, so maybe Venus in Gemini and Venus in Virgo would at least have the ability to talk through their problems. Sagittarius is the opposite sign from Gemini, and so they have a lot in common. Sagittarius is also a fire sign, so a Venus in Sagittarius partner would have many of the same advantages for Venus in Gemini as a partner with Venus in Aries or Leo. However, Sagittarius tends to act like an older Gemini, so there would be a power differential in the relationship with Venus in Sagittarius always the teacher and Venus in Gemini always the student. Venus in Aries or Leo is more evenly matched with Venus in Gemini. Venus in Pisces has an optimism that matches Venus in Gemini's abundant outlook. The challenge for these two is that Venus in Pisces may have an emotional intensity that overwhelms Venus in Gemini. We are done with the three best matches. Let's now talk about all the rest of the signs. The signs that have not been covered yet are Taurus, Cancer, Scorpio, and Capricorn. Taurus and Cancer are the signs on either side of Gemini. As noted previously, Venus can be no more than two signs apart from the Sun. There are therefore many Venus in Gemini people with the Sun in Cancer or Taurus. There are also many people with Venus in Taurus or Cancer who have the Sun in Gemini. If at least one of these situations applies to a couple where one has Venus in Gemini and the other has Venus in Taurus or Cancer, incompatibility is not a huge concern. The hardest matches for Venus in Gemini are Venus in Scorpio and Venus in Capricorn. Both Scorpio and Capricorn crave more stability and structure than Venus in Gemini is really capable of. Scorpio is a water sign, and Capricorn is an earth sign. As would follow from the earlier discussion of fire and air signs as yang energy and earth and water signs as yin energy, Scorpio and Capricorn would both be on the yin side of that divide. The same is true of water sign Cancer and earth sign Taurus. Venus in Gemini wants a lot of freedom, while Venus in Capricorn wants structure and predictability as an end in itself. For Venus in Scorpio, structure seems to be a side effect of their single-minded focus toward whatever they have decided their goal is. Single-minded is about the last description that would ever apply to Venus in Gemini. If you enjoyed our video, please don't forget to subscribe to our channel. Thank you for watching.